Every year, more than 4 billion tons of cement are produced worldwide. It is the material that supports absolutely everything that surrounds us: entire cities, roads, bridges, skyscrapers, and even your own home. Literally, without cement, the modern world would stop. But have you ever wondered how it is actually manufactured? How is it possible that a simple grayish powder is capable of keeping colossal structures standing for hundreds of years? Well then, today we will travel directly to Nigeria, home to the most gigantic cement processing plant on the planet. A place where, every day, tons of stone are crushed, ground, and cooked at more than 1,400 degrees, in an extreme process that transforms solid rock into one of the most resistant materials in human history. So get ready, because you are about to discover how cement is manufactured on a massive scale. We begin. Step number 1. Extraction of raw materials. Everything begins in the enormous open-pit quarries, gigantic excavations that look like authentic craters in the earth. Here, not just any stone is extracted. Cement is born from a very specific rock, limestone. It is the absolute base of the process and the raw material that sustains everything. These quarries can extend for several kilometers, with rock walls tens of meters high, constant dust in the air, and a noise that never stops. To tear the limestone from the ground, some of the most extreme mining operations on the planet come into play. First come the controlled explosions. The rock is drilled with millimetric precision, powerful explosive charges are placed, and in a matter of seconds, gigantic blocks of solid stone fracture and are reduced to tons of fragmented rock easier to handle. Once the limestone is broken, the real beasts of the process swing into action. Giant excavators, colossal front loaders, and mining trucks capable of transporting dozens of tons in a single trip. But the limestone does not travel alone. In order for the cement to have the exact properties that the industry demands, clays and mineral correctors, rich in aluminum and iron, are also extracted. These materials are responsible for the cement having that extreme resistance that characterizes it. All this material is loaded without rest and transported directly toward the production plant. The pace is brutal. Every day, thousands of tons of rock leave the quarry headed for the factory. Here the mining ends. The stone is already out of the earth, but the real process has only just begun. Step number 2. Arrival at the factory and crushing. After leaving the quarry, thousands of tons of rock finally arrive at the factory, and the spectacle is immediate. Giant mining trucks unload their cargo without rest into enormous reception hoppers. Each dump is a brutal avalanche of limestone, clay, and minerals hitting the reinforced steel with brutal force. But those rocks are still of no use. They are too big, too irregular, and completely unusable for the industrial process. For that reason, the material enters directly into enormous industrial crushers, colossal machines designed for a single mission: to break stone without mercy. Steel jaws and giant rollers crush blocks the size of a car, reducing them to increasingly smaller fragments. Finally, the already crushed rocks travel along giant conveyor belts toward enormous open-air storage yards. There they are, piled into long mountains of material, which can extend for hundreds of meters. Nothing is placed at random. Automatic systems distribute the material in perfectly calculated layers, perfectly mixing limestone, clay, and the mineral correctors. The goal is very clear: to achieve a fusion as uniform as possible before continuing. Thanks to this initial mix, the factory ensures that the material moving toward the next process has a solid and strong base. Here, the rock stops being simply stone and begins to become industrial raw material ready to continue its transformation into cement. Step number 3. Grinding and dosing of the raw meal. With the rock already crushed and premixed, one of the most decisive moments of the entire process arrives. Here, the raw stone stops looking like stone and literally begins to disappear. The tons of material enter directly into enormous ball mills, authentic steel monsters that rotate without rest. Each mill fulfills the same function: to reduce the rock to an ultrafine powder, almost like flour. Inside them, colossal rollers and tons of steel balls crush the material over and over again. The limestone, the clay, and the mineral correctors are pulverized until they become a sand so fine it looks like gray smoke. This material receives a key name: raw meal, and it will depend whether the next process works correctly. But here it is not only ground. While the material turns into powder, one of the most important systems of the entire plant comes into action: automatic chemical dosing. Sensors and analyzers review in real time the exact mineral composition of the raw meal. Everything is measured instantly. If limestone is missing, it is corrected. If there is excess clay, it is adjusted. If the mixture deviates even minimally, the system acts immediately. A small error here could cause a weak, unstable, or unusable cement. Therefore, this phase is completely automated and monitored 24 hours a day. When the process ends, the raw meal is no longer a mixture of rocks. It is a balanced, fine, and homogeneous material. Now, indeed, it is ready to face the most extreme step of the entire process. Step number 4, rotary kiln and clinkerization. We reach the most impressive point of the entire process, the place where the base of cement is truly born. The raw meal, that fine powder obtained in the previous step, now heads toward the heart of the mega factory, the rotary kiln. We are talking about a colossal machine, a metallic cylinder which can easily exceed 100 meters in length, rotating slowly without ever stopping. From the outside, it looks simple, but inside, it is one of the most brutal industrial environments created by human beings. The flour enters through the upper end of the kiln and begins a slow and absolutely lethal journey. As it moves forward, the temperature increases progressively. First, the humidity evaporates. Afterward, the compounds begin to decompose. And finally, in the most critical zone, the interior of the kiln reaches temperatures close to 1,450 degrees. Here, there is no turning back. The minerals do not just heat up, they react chemically with each other. Calcium, aluminum, and iron fuse and reorganize at a molecular level. Basically, the raw material stops being powder and transforms into a completely new material. Right here, clinker is born, the purest base of cement. Small, incandescent stones, the size of a marble, that leave the kiln red hot. It is not cement yet, but it already contains all its essence, resistance, durability, and the capacity to harden like stone. When the clinker leaves the kiln, it is still burning. Before it can be used, it must be cooled and prepared to become real cement. Step number 5, clinker, cooling. The clinker has just left the kiln red hot. Its temperature easily exceeds 1,000 degrees, and in this state, it would be impossible to handle. And even worse, it would lose fundamental properties. For that reason, as soon as it leaves the kiln, it enters directly into another colossal machine, industrial coolers. Here, something as brutal as it is intelligent happens. The small stones that leave the kiln fall onto enormous moving metal grates. While they move forward slowly, powerful currents of cold air pass through the material from below, surrounding it completely. The objective is twofold. First, to lower the temperature in a controlled manner. The clinker cannot cool down all at once. If it did, its internal structure would break and the cement would lose strength even before existing. Second, to take advantage of the energy. The air that heats up while cooling the clinker is not wasted. That heat is captured and sent back to the kiln, reducing the energy consumption of the entire plant. Here, literally, every degree counts. In a matter of minutes, the material goes from being incandescent to a manageable temperature. It is not yet cement, but now it is a solid, stable material prepared for the last great transformation. Step number 6, final grinding. The moment arrives to finally transform the tons of clinker into real cement. The small stones of material are introduced directly into high-precision mills, authentic industrial monsters capable of crushing hard rock without stopping. But the clinker does not enter alone. Here, gypsum is added, in a very exact proportion, and its function is absolutely critical to control the setting time. Without gypsum, the cement would harden in minutes, becoming unusable. With too much gypsum, the setting would be slow and unpredictable. Therefore, the amount is adjusted with extreme precision. Inside the mill, the material is subjected to constant punishment, impacts, friction, and continuous pressure. The goal is clear: to transform now all that clinker fused with gypsum into an ultra-fine powder. When the process ends, the result is already unmistakable. That fine and extremely reactive gray powder, cement as we know it. But although it already looks like it, it is not yet ready to go out into the world. Step number 7, storage, bagging, and distribution. Once the cement has been created, the process enters its final phase. Here there is no margin for error. Everything that has been done before can be ruined now if something fails. The newly produced cement is transported directly to giant storage silos, colossal structures capable of storing tens of thousands of tons of ultra-fine powder without losing a single property. And this is key because cement is extremely sensitive. Humidity, air, or bad handling could ruin it completely before reaching the construction site. From here, the cement can follow two paths. The first is automatic bagging. High-speed machines fill bags of 25 or 50 kilos with brutal precision. Each bag is weighed, sealed, and marked in a matter of seconds. If just one does not meet the exact weight, it is automatically rejected. The second path is bulk loading. In this case, the cement is pumped directly from the silos into tanker trucks, designed to transport powder without air or humidity entering. This method is used in large works and infrastructures, where thousands of tons are consumed in a short time. Before leaving the plant, the cement passes through a final quality control. Batches are selected at random, and absolutely everything is verified. Nothing leaves without meeting the exact standards. And then, the final journey begins. Trucks, trains, and ships leave day and night from the mega factory, carrying cement to thousands of constructions in progress. Thus, that gray powder that was born as rock in a quarry ends up becoming the foundations of the modern world. To finish, tell us, did you imagine all this process? Have you ever used it? Leave us your answer in the comments, and if you liked this tour through the factory, don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate the bell so you don't miss the next industrial journey.